Përshëndetje, mirë se erdhët në The Faith Factor Podcast, një podcast i frymëzuar nga historitë e liderëve edhe njerëzve me ndikim dhe sipërmarrësve, të cilët janë të udhëhequr në rrugën e tyre nga besimi i krishterë. Sot kam kënaqësinë që të kem të ftuar dy persona shumë të veçantë, të cilët janë më të veçantë se të ftuarit e mi të hershëm, për vetë faktin që do na duhet që të ndrojmë gjuhën për pak dhe kjo intervistë do kthehet, ky podcast do kthehet në një bisedë në anglisht, kështu që bëhuni gati, por do kemi titra dhe do kemi përkthime. Kjo për faktin se unë kam sot të ftuar në zyrën time Toby edhe Jen Lee, të cilët janë dy miq, dy besimtarë të krishterë, të dy një nga kisha ime guri i themelit, dhe kam pasur kënaqësinë që jo vetëm të njoh historinë e tyre, të njoh sa të veçantë janë ata si persona, si njerëz në biznes, po mbi të gjitha si misionar të krishterë, të cilët dinë të lidhin shumë mirë besimin me misionin e tyre për të bërë biznes i cili ka një ndikim në shoqërinë shqiptare, për të bërë një biznes i cili ka një ndikim edhe në ekonominë shqiptare, pasi sjellin biznese dhe investime amerikane në Shqipëri. Por jo vetëm kaq, janë dy persona shumë të veçantë me një familje të madhe dhe shumë të bukur, dhe që të dy jetojnë në Shqipëri prej 2 vitesh, ndërtojnë biznesin e tyre prej 2 vitesh dhe janë dy të krishterë që të frymëzojnë çdo ditë me historinë e tyre, por mbi të gjitha me qasjen, me empatinë edhe me mënyrën se si ato e ndjekin rrugën e besimit edhe si e tregojnë të qenit të krishterë në biznes, në punë, në drejtim dhe në çdo marrëdhënie që ato ndërtojnë në Shqipëri. Në vazhdim do doja që t'ju prezantoj short bion si të Tobit ashtu edhe të Jenit, përpara se të fillojmë bisedën së bashku. Një intro, në vitin 2022 Toby dhe Jen u zhvendosën në Tiranë për të trajnuar, këshilluar dhe lidhur shqiptarët me mundësi të reja, por edhe për të sjellë ekspert ndërkombëtar që të bëjnë të njëjtën gjë. Besoj shumë nga ju e kanë ndjekur The Art and Science of the Project Management, një projekt i cili u zhvilluar për 2 vite me radhë dhe është ndjekur për më shumë se 300 vet. Dhe ka qenë një trajnim 3 ditor. Ky trajnim solli 8 ekspertë amerikanë të industrisë, të cilët ndanë njohurit e tyre me komunitetin e biznesit shqiptar. Për te i punës së tyre profesionale, Toby dhe Jen mbajnë me vete një besim të fortë të Krishtit, i cili udhëheq misionin dhe vizionin e tyre për të ardhmen. Le të vazhdojmë me prezantimin e Toby Lee. Toby Lee është coach për lidershipin strategjik dhe CEO i Lee Global Consulting në Tiranë, me mbi 20 vite eksperiencë ekzekutive. Ai këshillon drejtuesit e bizneseve apo ekzekutivët e institucioneve dhe të organizatave të ndryshme për performancën dhe angazhimin, dhe duke lidhur lidershipin, duke orientuar lidershipin tek njerëzit me analiza të bazuara në të dhëna, si ish CEO dhe zëvendës presidenti i Murphy Global Logistic. Toby është coach e certifikuar profesional dhe organizatori i trajnimit vjetor në Shqipëri, siç thash më përpara, i Art and Science i Project Management. Duke fuqizuar lider të Ballkanit, dhe ky është dhe të Shqipërisë specifikisht, dhe ky është misioni dhe vizioni i tij për vazhdimsinë e punës edhe misionit të tij në Shqipëri. Ndërkohë, Jen Lee e nisi karrierën në bank dhe në pasuritë paluajshme në real estate. Për 20 vitesh ajo i bashkua bashkëshortit të saj Toby në sipërmarrje, duke menaxhuar retails edhe francizat të bizneseve dhe të B2B. Dhe gjithashtu pas kësaj Jen gjeti pasionin e saj të vërtet në coaching. Unë kam qenë një nga klientët e Jen në coaching edhe ka qenë vërtet një eksperiencë shumë e veçantë që planifikojmë që ta vazhdojmë, ku kam marrë disa certifikime në coaching, në business coaching dhe në coaching për një jetë më të mirë. Sot ajo drejton programin e saj Brick House Business dhe bashkëpunon me Lee Global Consulting në Shqipëri, që është kompania që e drejton së bashku me Tobin. Nga ky moment do duhet që të vazhdojmë bisedën in English. Welcome and thank you for accepting to be part of this podcast. And I'm very lucky and blessed to have you both here. Jen has started to tire.
I understand much better than I speak.
Yeah, so this is how it begins.
Yes. Thank you.
when you understand the language. So welcome, and I made a long introduction so people can know you more and better.
Good. It means we talk less.
About the introduction. I saved you about this.
Thank you.
So let's start with you sharing your personal and professional journey and how your life was prior to coming in Albania.
You want to start?
Okay. I grew up on a small family farm in the outskirts of a metropolis in Texas. Life was nothing but working hard. I started my first paid job at 9. I was working full-time by 13. And
9 years old.
9 years old. No, 9 years old. And by 13, I was working on construction sites in my brother's construction company. And by the time I went to university, I was a master carpenter. And I mean, what you'll hear consistently throughout this from me is that people poured into me. So my brother and his partner, they taught me how to work, how everything works within the construction industry. And so by the time I hit university, I was as skilled as anybody that worked with them. Then did university. I didn't want to do construction as a lifelong endeavor. Yeah, I attended Texas A&M University, which is one of the premier leadership universities in the country, in the U.S. And but from there, I went and went right back into construction because it was easy. I knew it, and so started my master's degree. When I started that, I started my own construction company. I had 3 by the time I finished my master's, and did that because it facilitated a lot of playing. But then I met Jen, and she was like, why are you not maximizing having an MBA and a master's degree in finance? So I got my first real job working in the IT sector, but I worked within the treasury of the department of the company. And I got to touch so many facets of the business that it was just so fun. But in the same time, I had somebody pouring into me the whole time. They were developing me. They were working with me. They were, and so they realized early on that I knew how to negotiate. And so they sent me to dozens of negotiating trainings. And then the CEO then moved me into running all of our supply chain of the company. So I was negotiating every contract the company did. And so the 8 years I worked there, we grew from about 2,500 to 4,500 employees. And I loved it at the beginning, but once I moved into management, and really wasn't where my heart was. I wanted to go back to work for myself. And so after 8 years there, we sold our house and bought into a battery franchise, which we did for 12 years. And it was because somebody came in and tried to sell me batteries at the IT company that it's like, what do you mean a battery business? Which just sounded crazy to me. But it was an amazing time. The early years there, we had multiple franchise locations. We sold B2B. We had retail locations, so we dealt with customers walking in and out the door all day. We worked together, which you want to challenge your marriage, work together. But it caused us to grow.
I know.
And so, and then we got out of that right before 2020, not suspecting COVID around the corner. I went and was chief operating officer of an international freight forwarder working primarily in the oil and gas sector moving oil rigs all around the world. And from there, I went to, I found the most fun job I've ever had, which was a company called Culture Index, and it's a similar company to Predictive Index, which I'm still currently a rep for. But they use human analytics to actually build and craft perfect executive teams and then flow down from there into having people working in jobs that God created them to do. And so actually to be able to take and use people's natural God-gifted abilities to do exactly what he created them to do, you get amazing employees that are loyal, stick around, and are the most productive. And so since I still rep that, we do a little bit of that here. And but that's
We can continue.
I was gonna say 20 seconds, but I know it was a lot more than that.
You started with the farm.
Yeah.
So I was a city girl. I was definitely did growth on a farm. Most of my professional background was in banking and in real estate, which I loved real estate. And then when Toby got the itch to become an entrepreneur again, I launched our first business with him. And it just made sense for us to not be doing two different things. What's interesting about marriage is you are kind of attracted to someone who is your opposite in many ways. So we tried to use our skills the best we could, working together. So I think we balanced it out pretty well. But like Toby said, he's a bit of a serial entrepreneur. He has big ideas and he loves to jump into things. So we owned franchises. We did all kinds of B2B type businesses in several different industries. So it was a real interesting time. Just looking for opportunities and trying to take those opportunities as we saw them until we moved here. And then we started Lead Global.
Yeah, still together running the business. And how was the beginning? How did you manage your your discussions, or not being in the same mind in different situations? Or you just
When we disagreed,
or you just decided that your role is this and your role is this, and you don't interfere to each other's decisions?
yeah, I think role is a very good word. We built a house one time. We built our dream home. Toby had this construction industry background, so we finally built our dream home. And friends told us, "Oh, you're going to be miserable. You will fight all the time." And it was the most fun thing we ever did. And I think that's because we knew our role. Like if it had to do with the building itself, I had no opinion. And if it had to do with the painting or the decorating, he was allowed no opinion. So business is the same way. He loves numbers. His brain works faster than most calculators. Like he can do pretty much any formula in his head. I borrowed him all the time when I was in banking. So we just know our strengths. So he's a people person and was in sales and kind of forwarded the business. And then as a mom too, it was convenient for me to do jobs that I could do at home or back office kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think we split it pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Not always.
Not always. And we didn't always agree about everything. And that's really where the hard part is. Because even with clearly defined roles, it doesn't mean you always agree. And you just really have to work hard at just coming to
and that's a good
best
point. Exactly. I was about to say, sometimes you just have to decide. We were in a training very early on, and there was this long, roundabout way of training, but it ended up to be like vanilla chocolate pick, which seems so silly, but it was almost like every decision can be that simple if you let it be that simple. So we won't always agree, but then you just pick and you do your best and you go forward. And I think we were able to do that.
What about first coming in Albania? What is your story?
Does God talk to people?
He does. He talks to me in different ways.
Yeah.
I would have always said yes, having grown up in the church and have lived my faith mostly my whole life. But I always thought it was like, okay, if he's just guiding my thoughts, and if you said that you could hear an audible voice from God, I would have been very doubtful. But God did that with me. We were in a Bible study group, and there were a couple of missionaries from Albania there. And while I didn't have an exact word statement, I had a full set of directives delivered to me in what I thought was audible because I was asking if she heard. And he didn't just tell me to go on a mission trip. He told me to go. And I did my best not to. But I finally broke down, and because I knew that my walk was off because I was not honoring what I knew I'd been told. And I'm so thankful for it. Once we finally did come and just fell in love with the people here, and then got what our calling really was in coming here. We had some hard things happen. This was 2014. I came for the first time. And she came later that summer in 2014. And we both had the same experience of we just fell in love with the people and just knew that I mean, I know everybody wants to make a difference in the world. I think I have a stronger urge for that than most people, but who knows? But God made it clear that this was where the difference I would make would be.
What was special about the people, like people from the church or the Albanian that you met?
It was across the board. Just seeing the guys sitting around a park bench playing dominoes. Mm-hmm. The people we met here that obviously we stayed with a missionary, and so most of the people we met were because of him. But even the people they introduced us to outside of that that weren't believers, it just impacted my heart that it's a very different life than anything I'd been exposed to. And it was just on me to make a difference. So
yeah, I think the U.S. lifestyle in general is very rushed and very performative. You know, just go, go, go. And you start to prioritize chasing, like we were prioritizing chasing business and chasing a big house and 2 cars and all of that stuff. And then when we came here, we actually got to know our kids better. You know, it was very convicting for us that we were slowing down and we were playing games and we were eating meals together and things like that when we could have done that in the U.S., but we weren't. We were just always on this like hamster wheel. So it slowed us down as a family. And then we were able to spend time with people away from the phone, away from the distraction. And we loved that. And there was an emphasis here definitely on like family and just like quality of life, like the real quality of life, which is having good conversations and having good food and those kind of things.
So still in Albania, family is important, and it's like the column of life, of social life, of personal life, and it's still going strong. I hope it will continue like this, and I like it that this was what impacted you.
It's funny. A story on top of that was our first hire at Lee Global. Mm-hmm. I pitched him on the opportunity, and he said, "Well, I need to talk to my family about this." You talk to your family? What? Huh? What do you mean you need to talk to your family?
An Albanian hire.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's like, "Yes, I must talk to all my family about it." And they're not in my paradigm. But now it's like, wow, that's lovely.
Yeah.
It's lovely. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a very close family.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a very close family. But I wasn't going to discuss a job decision with them.
But maybe we should have. Whatever. Isn't that a great idea?
I don't live with my brother and sister, and I still do take decisions with them or take their opinion. And what inspired you to move permanently to Tirana? Or is it permanently? Or
Yeah, I think
There's nothing left there for us.
uh-huh.
I mean, besides our 29-year-old daughter.
we did something very unusual, which the big house and all of this stuff, we pretty much got rid of all of it. So that we had no ties there, and we came here. And we were fully expecting that this would be our home now. So,
And do you feel it like a home?
yeah, it's swatched, like it's flipped now that when we go back to the US, it feels weird. And we've only been here full-time 3 years, but that's already happened, where it's like, we can't wait to get back.
What about a Christian concept in the Bible? It says that the husband is the head of the family, and starting with all the gender talkings, etc. It's like people are trying to diminish the role of the husband being the head of the family. How do you share this with what do you think about this, and how do you follow this?
Yeah, it's one of those.
You are a strong woman. I know that.
So where does not say was
And
like the feminist movement.
Yeah, and you are also helping with the business. You are developing your personal business as well, and you are trained. You are professional. You are independent. So it's I hear this every day. Like it's very strange to people to consider the husband to be the head of the family, considering that women are still investing a lot in the family.
It always felt to me more like, instead of being restricted, it felt like protection. Does that make sense? So if you talk to your average American woman and they talk about this topic, they will speak about it as though they're being restricted or held back in some way. And I always saw it as actually the opposite. It's protection. And when you have that protection, you actually have the freedom to follow your dreams or to build your business and do all of these things. So I always see it as very protective. We were talking about making decisions. And one thing my dad told me when I first got married, and it didn't really make me happy then, but I understood it later. You know, some of those things your parents tell you, and then later on you realize, oh, they were right. That was a good idea. Is he said, someone will always have 51%. And that was actually a delicate way of saying your husband will be the head of the household. He's going to have 51%, not like 80%, just that 1% more, just that little bit more. And we fell back into that when we had disagreements sometimes. And some of the disagreements are actually good because you get to see the world in a different way. But someone does have to have 51%. And to me, that was the biblical model without making it extreme. Because a lot of the people that resist this concept, they take it out of context and they make it extreme. And you see what's going on in the US right now got so just almost ridiculous. The narrative about gender, and they wanted to empower women, but at the same time, they diminish women completely by not protecting them. So it became trendy. I think inside us, Toby was talking about making an impact. God does put this desire to live our purpose and make a difference in the world. And I think a lot of people in America have been very misguided. So they have this desire to make a difference, to fight, to make their world better, but they're going about it all the wrong ways. So even if the intention is good, the application is bad. But like all trends, it's already starting to fall apart like a house of cards. And it's swinging back the other way. And it's been very encouraging to see so many young people now are rising up and going to church, even if they didn't have parents that went to church, because they got so tired of this narrative that just felt so untrue. So it's one of those times where I think even what was meant for evil, God's using for good.
And the truth is always the truth, and the truth is the Bible. So
Yeah.
we have the word.
And you can make posts about it, but you're not going to change the truth.
Do you want to say something about this topic?
Yeah, so I understand. I know how flawed I am as a human being. And I'm very confident in who I am and what I think. But I always know there's nobody that knows me better than her. And so I run, or I try to run every decision I make by her. Just because I know I'm going to hear the truth. I may not always choose and make the best choice, but I hear and I listen. And then yeah, it's at that point.
So different questions are coming to my mind from what I wrote in here. But how do you hear the when God doesn't speak with a loud voice? How do you hear His voice? How do you listen to His voice? And how do you distinguish His voice?
I'm the one that always hears God. And that's one thing He depends on me for too. And I think as women, like He stopped making hiring decisions without me because He would be really excited about an employee, but I would notice something else or I would hear something else that maybe He overlooked. And I think as women, we're so relational that it's a good balance. But for me, God's voice is real obvious. And I have so many examples, but it's usually my mind is cluttered. Like I'm worried or I'm anxious about something or I feel overwhelmed. And then all of a sudden, my brain is just going. And then all of a sudden I will hear a very calm thought in my brain that almost feels like it's not my thought. You know, like when we were getting ready to move here, a bunch of guys came over and it was the last day. Like my couch was going out the door. My china was going out the door. You know, like this was it. Everything was leaving. And then we were coming here the next day. And I just started, my mind was just thinking of 100 things. And I actually started praying and was like, please take the fear away. Please take the fear away. And all of a sudden I got this really calm thought in my brain, which was the fear doesn't go away, but you still go forward. Why? I don't talk like that. Like I wouldn't go, Jori, the fear doesn't go away. You must go forward. You know, so it was almost like a thought that I wouldn't have. But immediately I calmed down because immediately I knew like that's God. And it was kind of funny because I'm praying for this one thing, you know, take the fear away. And He was like, no, it's okay. You can go with the fear. And that was the message. And then the other ways are through scripture. It'll happen. It comes a joke to us. Sometimes we'll look at each other and go, it happens again. Where you hear maybe someone mention a verse and then you hear it on the radio and then a friend says it or you read it and it's just like this same message. Then we feel like that's God trying to get your attention. And then through other believers, I think it's real important to have that community and have other believers speak into your life because they see things that you can't see. I don't know if you want to add.
No, I
Yes, people like the dream I had. Probably I will cut it off, but
Yeah.
I had a dream that when we were discussing about a project that Toby needs help in the gym. So even if I were very busy, I couldn't have said no.
We had, quickly, you know, our son, and he has a lot of challenges. And when he was only 3 years old, he was diagnosed with a lot of issues. And it was just, as a mom, broke my heart. And I actually just started walking. I was in our neighborhood just walking because I was so upset and this isn't fair. And this, you know, all of the thoughts in my head. And then I had that calm thought that was the greatest of these is love. And it's like, I knew immediately what that meant, that God was telling me, you're trying to judge Tristan certain ways, but I gave him my best. And people who know that kid know that he's the most loving kid there is.
I would just say that he is very, very loving and he's precious. and very sweet and very positive, and like you have done a very wonderful job.
No, I think literally God prepared him. God gave him that much love. And so,
And he shares love easily with other people.
yeah, but that was God's voice. I wasn't able to kind of calm myself or have any wisdom at all in that moment. So that was like the wisdom. So I think that's how we hear his voice speak to us.
Wonderful. Okay, so
Back to business.
yeah, back to where we're going. We'll go back to this as well. The first project about what I was very happy to help you organize and communicate and be part of it, where I was very blessed, was the art and science of project management, where you brought 8 USA experts of project management, but not only. And it was a blessing. The first year, there were more than 300 people that participated. And during this year, about 150, because it was organized on 3 days, which is very rare to happen in Tirana. To be full of people and for people to participate from the first day and not get fewer people participating in the next days. Like it happens that I've been in 3-day events. The first day there are a lot of people. Yeah. The second day less, and the third day lesser. But it didn't happen neither the first year, neither the second year. People were very happy to participate during the 3 days, and also I think more people came in the second and the third day, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. And it was a very beautiful project, and thank you for bringing it in Albania. But let's talk about it. How did you start working on it? What was the initial idea, and how did it start?
Yeah, and I feel like we should stop and do a commercial for you. But if you ever need a referral or a reference, please use us, because that event would not have happened.
Oh, this podcast
you
ends with the review.
Okay.
Always.
Do you want to talk about the original idea?
Yes. So, well, I mean, my first, we were here, we came for 3 months in 2015. Because really wanting to know why God wanted us to come here. We knew that we were supposed to, but why? What's our role? What could you get out of us? And he very quickly, within 3 days of landing, he made it very clear, because of our business background, we had so many people that heard about us and wanted to meet with us, needed a contact, needed consulting, needed an idea, and it's like, what a platform. And so we knew that coming here was to work within the business community. And so while I was here, I met Gordon Schrank, who was the head of the Lincoln Center. And he asked me to come back in the fall of 2015 and teach one of the courses. They were doing a week-long business training at Lincoln. And I did that. And wow, I met some incredible people. But I really got that, wow, this is a great way that we can really influence and make a difference and bring change about here. And then I went back to the States and I looked around, and it's like, I've got a network of people there who would love to come and share what they've spent their careers doing. It's not like they have to go learn something new to teach it. They get to come and just share their lives and share their experiences and share all that they've learned over their careers. And it's a huge benefit for them. They are really just, it hits their heart in the right place to come and give to people that are hungry. And when we got here, just the hunger, the lack of knowledge being passed down, the lack of, so there were so many skills that needed to be learned. And so it's like, we need to do this. And then you obviously helped us put the whole idea and everything together. But that was it. So I can recruit people from there.
Yeah. And I think I mean, it's no secret that there's a brain drain here, that there's a lot of people here that are very smart, very well educated, hard workers that want opportunities. And we were working with a lot of young professionals at the time who were telling us basically they were leaving the country. They were getting jobs in Italy. They were planning to move to Germany. It just was really on our hearts. Like Toby said, we had these networks and these connections. How can we put them together so that these people we love could actually stay here in the country? And so we had done a project where we connected engineers, Albanian, to a company in the Texas, and to be able to have job opportunities here and stay in Albania, work as an engineer. They have flexibility, they have a good income, and it was a really good project. And just talking to them about what skills could we bring here? How could we make a difference here? So the original idea was through our engineers. And they said that we get all the theory, we get all the math, but it's really hard to get the soft skills, that hands-on practical skills. Yeah. So the first training was actually for them. We thought it would be a lot smaller than 369 people. We were just going to do a free event with our 8 engineers and then, kind of open it up to other people that wanted to learn those skills. And it happens everywhere, but I think it may happen a little more here where your boss will keep trade secrets and some of his, network and those kind of skills close to his chest and may not be as generous. Mentoring here is not as common as it is in the US, for example. So it's hard to get those skills. And so we thought, how can we just bring them here? And that was the original idea. But we had some amazing people that showed up and just went above and beyond.
Yeah.
And they didn't just train. We loved it because they were more workshop related. They were hands-on. They were taking questions. They were spending a lot of time with the participants. They weren't just going up and doing a presentation and going to have a coffee.
They met with people during the days as well, and they stayed not just for the 3 days events and training, but also with a lot of meetings of different businesses and organizations as well. And that's very special.
Yeah,
like you don't organize something that is just for the training what is announced, but you organize also the follow-ups and the small meetings, face-to-face meetings.
Yeah, I mean, one of the beautiful things that came out of that is I was stopped walking back from Skanderbeg back here to the office 2 nights ago by a young woman who was in the first training. And she's like, thank you. She's like, I still talk to Eric. He coaches me and consults. So she is 2 years later, she's still communicating with one of the guys and asking him for ideas, asking him for input. He's still mentoring her.
Right.
Over Zoom, but wow, what a gift to both ways.
It is a gift. Like it's not very common to have this kind of mentorship and follow up on whatever trainees come in Albania. And about the participation of last year, we had, if I remember well, we were communicating in less than a month, and we had a lot of registration. And I think in that case was the hand of God as well. It was not us. It was not us. So it was wonderful to see a lot of people participating and a lot of people being present in the 3 days.
Yeah. And you're right. They weren't just like checking it off a box. They were really participating.
Yes, they were participating.
And weighted up with more people than we started with.
You know what was the most common feedback that people said? They wanted to participate on 16, 18 workshops. At all of them, like not just at 4. And it would turn out to be a full week event or more.
Yeah, I know. Well, that is impressive that we had 18 workshops in 5 conference rooms over 2 days.
Yeah.
But we wanted it to be so that customizable, so that you weren't at a training where you were just kind of bored sitting through there. You got to pick the things that you really wanted to learn about. But yeah, there were a lot of people that wanted to pick a lot more.
I was one of them.
I know.
Okay.
We were.
There were 4 of them I wanted to do really bad and couldn't see any of them.
We can talk a bit later about the projects we have coming up in the spring
Yeah.
because we listen to the feedback and we have ways that we think we can make that work.
Great. We will talk about it later.
Yeah.
So.
Stay tuned.
Okay. How does okay. What impact do you hope this type of program will have on the Albanian business community?
As a part of the American Chamber, and I'll give a shameless plug, I'm running for the board, but I'm also on Labor and Ethics Committee, and the number one complaint, the number one business problem in Albania is the lack of qualified labor. So if you want to impact the community broadly, let's up-level the quality of the labor. So it's really, we're wanting to bring it to help. And we also feel like we've got some skills and some ability to train within the community here as well that can really up-level companies, and give us access to meeting more people and training them personally, and working in the community that way to actually do some teaching and training of how business is done in the U.S. And especially in the realm of leadership. There's a lot of talk about leadership, but it's actually seeing good leadership here it's hard to find. So
Yeah. And negotiation skills as well. Like I need some training, not just coaching from Jen, but also the coaching on negotiation from Toby. And I think it's something that is missing in the Albanian side. They negotiate, like we talk a lot about sales, but not about true negotiation, like on values. I find it when I do the personal branding trainings, I find it very difficult for people to understand their values and their message.
Yeah.
What is their personal message? What makes them different and authentic from their competition? They find it very like when they consider themselves to be like real estate agents, and there are about 5,000 real estate agents. They don't understand the unique value proposition that they should bring on the table with their clients. Right? It's very difficult for an Albanian professional to know that you might have the same CV as another person, but you will bring value to the relation, and especially when it's service, it's very personal to distinguish yourself not just from the CV and and trainings, etc., but from the value and the personal message. And I think this is something that is missing, and I find it very easily when I talk with you. Like you are very aware of what you bring on the table.
I'll give you 2 secrets about negotiating, and then we'll get back to the value conversation. So here's 2 secrets. One of mine is we get it seems obvious, but in the moment it's not obvious. We get stuck on our agenda or what we want. So I've been a mediator many times in big negotiations, and basically we just keep raising things up until the 2 people find something they can agree on, and then we go back down, if that makes sense. So they're so stuck on these like 3 specific items that we have to go up until there is something that we find that they do agree on. And usually it is values or service or quality and those kind of things. And then we can go back down. Toby's secret, I've watched him many years, is he's not afraid of space. He's not afraid of silence. That was his biggest negotiation skill. I mean, there's all these little tricks. He used to set his chair up higher than the other people's. I mean, there's all those little things. But he is not afraid of silence. And that is a skill that people have lost. We want to fill the silence. We want to convince and talk and motivate and try to get you to see my way of doing things. But he would be quiet And the person that he was negotiating with would start negotiating themselves down because they're uncomfortable with the silence.
And they're creating so it's pressure with the silence.
It's almost a power move
Interesting.
to just
So
sit
okay,
back.
stay quiet. I don't
Have a little silence. Yeah. It's a power move, Jori.
interesting.
And then
So we got two
two tips.
tips.
We're more alike than we are different, but sometimes it doesn't feel that way. So you have to find those things where we're alike, which is we want the company to go forward or we want this project to go forward. And then we get into the details. And then,
And those two were very, very specific. Like when I've been in a lot of trainings in Albania, and there is a lot of theory, but
Yeah.
there is not tips and specific.
that's in everything we do. It has to be implementable. And then like in coaching, if there's not a tool, I create it because we have to have those hands-on tools. So I'll say one thing about values, and I know you'll have something to say. There's an expression that we've always used, which is you hire for character and then you train for skills. So it's almost like even if someone's CV is not as impressive, I know I can train those skills, but I can't train character. I can't train value. I can't get that and put that inside them. That is something they either have or they don't have. So we hire for character, train for skills. We see the opposite here sometimes where people want to add certifications. They think the answer is to go back to school, but really the answer is building that character. And that's where I think business and faith are inseparable. Like you can't have business over here and God over here or faith over here. It is all together because I saw a Simon Sinek book here. Okay. The Power of Why. If we were to hire Simon Sinek and bring him to our organization and pay the tens of thousands of dollars that he would charge us, the first thing he would talk to us about is values and why and purpose and mission statement. That's where we start. And that fundamentally is in God. That foundation is in God. How do you know what the bar of your values are? That's something outside of you. That's in God. So anytime you bring in a coach or consultant, the first thing they're going to start, because they know it's the most important thing, is mission and values. And it's not something that we should write up and frame and put on the wall behind us. It's something that we should live every day and that should guide all of our decisions. So to me, they're one and the same.
Hey. It's very similar. What you see here a lot is, I mean, in negotiation, it's I win, you lose. Mm-hmm. And the U.S. has kind of beaten up the concept of win-win, or I win, you win. We negotiate to a mutually agreeable. But there's also, I mean, it's the people negotiating that are looking at it. But really, if you can step back a little and look at, okay, how can I give a little bit and make sure that everybody involved, customers, employees, absolutely everybody wins. That's worth it. So how do we create an environment where, and it makes a lot, I've never really said it this way, but it's kind of what we're here for is we kind of want to give ourselves a way to make everybody better. Mm-hmm. And if I've got to do that to make everybody better, what better way can I spend my life?
Right. So people oriented.
Yeah.
What has been your experience with Christian people in Albania, with the church in Albania, as well as how do you see the role of the church in Albania in the Albanian culture, economy, in social life? Like probably you have a background of how the faith has developed in Albania and how past the last 30 years we've been free to be transparent and to talk about our faith.
It's not a big question at all.
Sorry.
I disagree. I will say one thing that's always been special to me is there's a lot of Americans, and we're doing a lot of this comparison, but I mean, it's kind of who we are.
You know, my first Bible was given by my uncle, who was in an evangelical church, and an American people were the one who created the church, and he was part of it. And the Bible that we received were from American people.
If I go to our church back in Texas and I ask people, like, what is your testimony, or when did you become Christian? What you'll hear most people say is, I just grew up in a Christian home. Like, I've just kind of always been that way. Maybe they made a decision at some point, but for the most part, they grew up going to church. And I've always had a special respect and appreciation for people here that had a different story. That maybe they were in college, for instance, they didn't grow up in a Christian home, or they grew up in a Muslim home, or no faith or Orthodox faith, and they made the personal decision to become a Christian. And I think that is a huge thing, and it's something that I've always appreciated about the Christian community here. Any chance I get, I ask someone their story here, because they're all so different, and they're and powerful in their own way. But that is something that I appreciate very much about the Christian community here in Albania.
And your stories.
Yeah,
We don't talk about.
no, we have very different. Toby grew up in a church and grew up in a wonderful family, and I grew up in a very difficult family. And my father was actually an atheist, so I did not grow up in the church and was actually not allowed to participate in the church. And can I share for a minute, or do you want to move on?
Yeah, but please.
Okay. So what's interesting is, now that I'm here, I can see that my story actually mirrors a lot of people here, versus Toby's maybe more uncommon here, but my story is pretty common. So I grew up in a pretty difficult home. My dad did not allow us to go to church. He died when I was 11. And then my mom wanted to almost make up for that. So then we were in church all the time. And it was a Lutheran church, because my grandparents were Lutheran. They came here, and my grandfather started a church. So I went from no church to we were there all the time. But I didn't enjoy it. It felt like, as a child, that there were a lot of rules. There were a lot of things to memorize. I never even saw a Bible until I was in my 20s, honestly. Because there was this idea of intercessory, like a priest, or it's like a priest or an imam even. It's someone else has to explain the text to you, because you can't get it on your own. And by the way, this is a controversial opinion. If you're in a religion and someone else has to explain it to you, you should do your own research. And that's finally what I started to do. So I wasn't interested in church much at all, because it just felt like rules. And then I met Toby, and I thought he was weird. I thought he was crazy. He would listen to worship music in his car. He worked with kids. He had businesses, but like all of his free time, he was helping out at the church. He was helping out in the community. He was doing all of these things. He was the happiest person I ever met. And I was like, what is it with this guy? Like, what is different about him? And that is a beautiful testimony. Like, that's all of our testimonies should be that. Like, we're so happy, or there's something so special about us that people are attracted to us. And that was the way I was with him. I wanted what he had. So I started going to church with him. I read the Bible for the first time in my mid-20s, and just really started to do my own research. Like, what do I really think versus what my parents taught me, or culture taught me, or my friends. And it was a really special time in my life. But I had heard one time a verse, which was, God will restore the years that have been stolen from you. And that maybe is the first time I ever heard from God. Like, I just knew that was important. I'd never heard that before. And then next day, I heard the verse again. I heard the same thing. I turned on the radio and I heard that verse. And the third day, Toby and I were driving in the middle of nowhere, Texas. And he turned on the radio and there was a pastor that immediately came on and yelled that same verse, God will restore the years that have been stolen. And I just fell apart and I just started crying. Toby had to pull the car over. He's like, what's happening? And I had to tell him, I've heard this verse like every day, 3 days in a row. I don't know what it means. And he goes, Jen, that's God's promise to you. God is promising that he is restoring these years that were so hard and so difficult for you when you were a child. And that was true. And that's when I actually became a Christian. I was 29 years old. So it wasn't something that I always lived with. It's something I rejected. I did my own research. And then you could say I chose or God chose me. I don't know. But it was a very beautiful experience because it doesn't mean that life is like easy at that point. Like I still had problems. I still had difficulty, but it was completely different because you're never alone. You always do feel guided. You have a community of people. I mean, it was vastly different, my life before and my life after. So I don't know how to tie that back to the question that you asked, Jori, but thank you for letting me share that because I haven't thought about this in a long time. But I have found that my story is similar to many people's stories here. Maybe they grew up differently or they grew up without religion. And then at some point in their life, that calling to find out what my purpose is or what is life for brings them to do their own research. And then it's my prayer that God intervenes.
And God is always very bold in his calling.
Yeah.
It always happens like this. But it's very special to hear the Christian stories and to testimonies. Okay, let's go on with the next question. Yeah, as a participant. Love it. So for Toby, how do you see the role of church in supporting families, entrepreneurs, and community development here in Albania?
Paul covered it in Colossians. But I think the church's role is to equip the people that are going to church with the biblical directive of being Christ-like. And when you do that, when you are pursuing that, when that is the primary driver of your life, you're naturally going to do what Paul called out in Colossians, which was do your work as unto the Lord. There is no reason that the best employee in every company in Albania is a Christian. If you're a believer, you're equipped better than anyone else in the company you're in to thrive and to forward the business and to make a bigger difference than anyone else, because it's a natural outflowing of who you are. And so the church needs to develop that, create that drive in people to succeed. And it's purely through your walk. It's purely through honoring God in all you do. I mean, it really is a powerful thing that there should be nobody outwork you. There should be nobody with more integrity than you. There should be nobody. It's big because you've got Jesus in you. You've got the Holy Spirit, and you can do more than anyone else. And I don't hear that a lot. But there's in no way should you not be the best employee. I mean, wherever you work as a believer. And you need to step back and check if you're not. So I'll give a call out to the believers here in the community. If you're not the best, why? And it really is between you and Jesus. So that's yeah.
I think and you had mentioned like community and entrepreneurship and all these things, and it made me realize that a lot of times we do separate those things. We box them up. Like we have the way we are at work, the way we are at home, the way we are at church, and that can be exhausting. And we really need to integrate that and just be the way we are. in all of those places. And to Toby's point, as a believer, you should be able to show up representing God as a natural outflow.
We're not flawless, but we have the right direction. So if we see, if we follow His direction, we might become the best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
And bring value to other people working with us as well.
Yeah, we're promised, actually, if we admit our faults, that's part of it.
Yes.
Is admitting that we're not perfect and admitting that we need help, and then asking Jesus to be the one that helps us.
And you're with us.
He always does.
Yeah. Jen, can you share something about the business growth coaching that you do? You generally work with American business people, but I also had the experience of working
But the buttons
a little. Yeah, and I want to be shorter, and that's why I'm raising your hand. Jen, can you please share also about the business growth coaching that you do with business people? You generally have been working with USA business owners or CEOs, but I was lucky to have some sessions of business coach and personal growth with you, and it was a blessing. And we should continue.
Yeah.
Can you share how you what it means and how you help entrepreneurs or organizations grow, and what are the common challenges that you see that business owners face, and how do you help them?
Okay, sure. I think coaching for me was not a want to, but a have to. Like, I got into the industry because I needed to be coached. That's how I got in. I hired a coach because I was so burned out. We had multiple companies, and I was doing what I think a lot of people do, which is, on the outside, I looked very much like I had it all together. But at night, I would just crash because I was exhausted from all of the roles of mom and wife and business owner and parent, just all of the things. So I looked very polished, but inside I was really struggling. And so I started to seek out how to get out of this myself. And I tried a few things, and it wasn't really helpful until I hired my first coach. And that was life-changing for me. And it was very much, for the first time in my life too, didn't matter like where I had come from or what my past was like. It was very much focused on where I wanted to go and how I wanted to get there. And then finding real tools to help me get there. Not like theory, but actual tools that I could use. So selfishly, I got into coaching because I needed a coach. Learned the tools, applied them to myself, and then just fell in love with that. So the coaching that I do, mostly with Americans, but I do coach here quite a bit too, is just over the years, I've created my own frameworks. So I have one called 4S, because things kind of have to make sense. We have to build things. So I start with I have a framework of space, strategy, sustainability, and scale. And people always want to enter those in different places. So we usually want to start with a strategy. Just tell me what to do if I knew what to do. But we have to create space first. Because it's always an inside out approach with coaching. And we kind of have to get the inside right first. Your role, how you see yourself, your confidence level, and things like that. So before we start adding all of these things, we have to edit out the things that don't match the future that you want to step into. I hope I'm not getting too specific.
Very interesting.
But we always think the answer is more. We always think the answer is what to do. But the answer is usually letting go of what's not serving us. Like I've gone into businesses before, and we've gotten rid of 80% of the business, for instance, because they were too distracted, too many types of customers, too many things. And once we get rid of that 80% of the business, the 20% just takes off and ends up being more successful than what you know. Exactly. So there is a method to that. and not scaling too fast and getting those foundational pieces in place. As far as you said, challenges, it's all inside. We always think it's outside. We always think it's more time, it's more money, but it really is who we think we are and how we show up in the world and what we think we're capable of, which is really limitless. But we've been told by society or culture or other things that there's a cap there. And we usually get to that cap and stop. But it's really limitless. So
it's very obvious that you have a lot to share. Like
yeah,
a lot. Not just today. And
maybe I'm being too specific, but
no. I wish we could have a training now.
Yeah, we'll do it another time. But I mean, some of the basics are fear of failure, right? We have to, if you want more success, you have to have more failure. Yeah. We want to have the good stuff and avoid the bad stuff.
And so I was one of the people that would judge the failure. Like I was listening to other, in the beginning of my business, I would listen to other people who were very experienced in business talking about failure, and that you will not have success until you understand that you need the failure. And I was like, okay, a lot of the steam, why you talk about failure as much. And when I experienced it, I know the value.
Yeah.
But it was too late to prepare about it.
But there's that way to be where you are now, as successful as you are now, without going through those parts. And we want to skip over them.
About the what you have to share, what are your future plans? What are you preparing in order to share your experience and also the people similar to you? You were planning something for the next spring, and can you tell more about it?
Well, the first thing we've got going, we'll start in January, but it will be a follow-up to the Art and Science of Project Management. We are in the process of got a course mostly created with Dan and Mandy Biles, who are also here full-time, that we will do a small group mastermind of project management. So we will meet once a month, select small group, no more than 15 to 20. And we will take a topic from the Project Management Institute, their training for getting certified in project management. We will take a topic each week, do a short train. We'll engage with some of the people who were here the last 2 years training. They'll come on and do a blurb as well and sit in on the group by video. But you will be able to come as a project manager here, or you don't have to be a project manager, but have a project you're doing at work. Bring your project here and get the value of group coach. And so multiple other people that are doing, and may not be in the same industry you're in, but they're also working on so many of those same form factors. And you will be able to get coaching from across the entire group, plus from us and the people. Again, like I said, we'll have them on video, the guys who've been here training.
Great. And how will people register on it?
We will start promoting it.
We're going to launch it in January.
Yeah.
So we'll start promoting it in a month or two. But we're hoping that the Art and Science of Project Management was just the beginning. Mm-hmm. And we don't want to just leave people with this great training and then, okay, go figure it out. So this is what we're offering. I don't know of anything like this here, but you'll be able to bring actual projects and get real-time feedback. And
there's not something here, but should we share it?
It's an idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then I'm joking. I'll let Toby. And then what we're really excited about, though,
people start to do it as well. Other people. It's okay.
There's plenty of space.
You said it first.
There's plenty of space.
Yeah.
But very interesting. It's very interesting. I think people will really appreciate it, and it's something that is missing and something that is very important.
Yeah.
And what about the spring project?
That's the one we're real excited about. So it's your baby.
Okay, so we're doing a weekend plus long exclusive owner and executive training. So we're bringing in a number of very high-level executives, former executives of companies that are well-known worldwide. It'll be a 3-day event in Durrës with a follow-up Tuesday night here in Tirana. We will come in and train. I wrote down inside out because that's kind of the format of how we're going to do the training. But teaching, go ahead.
Oh, as business owners and working with a lot of people, we see the same. And that's actually probably the biggest challenge, to answer your question, is they're working in the business, not on it. So we coach people here. They're so busy doing activities every day that they never have time to get above all of that busyness and really get strategic and really plan for the future and create an action plan and those kind of things. So we're going to do a business mastermind, also a retreat at the beach, just so that you can turn off the noise of your job or your business for a few days and be surrounded by a team of experts. And we're going to do that high level strategy that people never get a chance to do.
They will be there.
So we are going to talk about personal development. We'll talk about building a team. We'll talk about your customers. And then we're going to do something we're really excited about where everyone will leave with a way to implement it. We're going to get the best of the weekend and do a 90-day plan, a quarterly plan, so that you walk away knowing exactly what's next for you.
And we strategically timed this to be at the end of their first 90 days. So they've had their new year, they've got their new goals, and it's like, so how'd it go? And now, all right, here, let's take this and let's drive you forward for your second quarter. Here's your 90-day go forward plan. And then we're gonna be available to keep coaching, consulting, and walking through it with you.
So there will be a specific, a small number of people participating.
Yeah.
They will have to be business or owners or business executives, the decision makers, and it will be a 3-day training and retreat as well, since it will be near the beach in Durrës. Really interesting. And then there will be a strategic plan and follow up. And will you follow up these people after the event?
Yes, we will be available to them through the next 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
There will be an element of accountability because that is the difference maker.
Mm-hmm.
But it won't be an event where you just listen to seminars or training. The whole thing will be you working on your role, you working on your business, and having some experts around and coaches to help guide you.
Great. So people always ask about the trainings and the trainees to be trainers, to be specific, to share practice value and to share action plans and strategies. So this is the case, and it looks wonderful. Perfect.
And then
you are running for the AmCham because we're running out of the car as well. You are running. Toby is running for 2 roles at AmCham. At November 5th is the assembly meeting. All the members of AmCham will be your voters. So let us know about the decision to participate in this.
Yeah, so I've been involved in the Labor and Ethics Committee already, and I just think there's the number one problem per the business index for AmCham, and it has been for 10 years, is the lack of qualified labor. And then number 2 is training for leadership. And so that's really what we're here about. I mean, as you can obviously hear from our time together already, but I think as a board member, I can take forward the idea of training and development of people better from that role than even being on the Labor and Ethics Committee, that we can really take the up-level the skills of the guys who will be voting on November 5th.
why people should vote you and not the other candidates?
I think perspective, and then I've got a lot of road rash, meaning I've done a lot of stuff, I failed a lot of stuff, I've gotten back up and succeeded, and so that experience is easily passed on, and that's where I just really want to further the quality of trainings and the development of people here in Albania. It's the best thing you can do for your business. Is train, teach, and empower your people.
Yeah, and I really believe that since you moved in Albania with the purpose to be permanent in here, and with the purpose to create and to invest on Albanian people and everything about Albania, it will be the best decision to vote you.
Yeah.
And you have my vote already.
I mean, yeah, I want,
like you are more purposeful as an Albanian leader, because we see a lot of myself being very skeptical about Albania development, about Albania politics, about Albania economics, and when you are skeptical, probably you are not the best leader to be effective, or to as someone that is very purposeful in seeing the value of Albanian people and Albanian businesses.
yeah, I'm not here to help the business leaders, but I do that so that it all rolls downhill to everybody walking on the street. That's where my heart is that just the everyday people on the street. Okay. So if we can teach, train, and empower, it'll get through the fabric of society.
Will you give your vote to Toby? Absolutely. Okay. Do you want to talk about global evolving over the next few years? And how do you see it? Or I think we shared with the projects, future projects, etc. We shared everything. Okay. So we can make the closure. All right. Okay. So thank you for being here. The review for Rose. Just a minute. Okay. I always ask to my guests, especially when they have worked with us and they have experienced our services, to share their review about us marketing.
More than a review. Like the event would not have happened and it wasn't for Osmark.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, the first one we did, we kind of just threw a bunch of stuff at you and said, what do we do? And the turnout, the reach and the touch that we got through Oz, it was incredible. We had 369 people show up the first night. And I know 20 or 30 people here. It wasn't about me. It was truly the marketing effort done by Jori and her people that turned out such an enormous number of people. We weren't ready for it. We had to go get bigger rooms. But wow, what a blessing. And it's just, we're very blessed to work with you. You're very dear to us.
Thank you. And you are very dear to me and to us.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing everything that you shared. And thank you for being the way you are. Yes, you are very precious to me. You are very precious to the people that know you and to the new people that know you. I know that everyone that met you was like they have such a light and they have such positivity. So thank you. Faleminderit. Kjo ishte podcasti The Faith Factor podcast për sot, episodi i 3. Shumë faleminderit për kohën tuaj dhe faleminderit që bëni subscribe në Oz Marketing Channel në YouTube.